How's it going, my evil residents? Today we're going to take a look at most of the characters from the mainline Resident Evil games. We're going to decide which characters have the most or least aura. Of all the Resident Evil characters, we are covering original and remake characters separately if they have different auras, because some of them do. But if they are about the same, then I just merged them into one entry. This is going to be a more relaxed video. If you just want to listen to it, go for it. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If I am yapping too much between entries, I will throw in some epic gameplay. And yeah, this will be fun. This will be cool. So let's get to it. Before that, I should explain, in case you don't have brain rot, what is aura? And the best way I can explain that is by doing the first entry, Wesker. Wesker is aura. Okay? If you see him enter a room, you notice him, you see him, you want to be him, can't take your eyes off him. That is aura. Now, negative aura is if you notice someone and they gross you out and they generally bring down the vibe of the room. Steve. Zero aura is if you didn't even know they were there. And the one that I could put here is the Houndwolf Squad. So they're going in the middle. If that doesn't explain to you what aura is, I have no better way to explain it. But enjoy the video anyway, because this will be funny. This is not best Resident Evil characters. This is characters with the most aura. So if someone has 10 seconds of screen time, but those 10 seconds are immaculate, they could go very well up here. Same for the bottom. But if you don't care about them, if you forgot they were there, they're going zero aura. There's a couple on here that I literally almost forgot to put on the list, and because of that, they will probably go in zero aura. But anyway, let's get started. We'll just go alphabetically with both of the Adas. Let's see. Can you click it, please? I have a mouse. I don't know why I'm using my touchpad. Both of the Adas. Now, this is rough, okay? Because I think modern Ada benefits a lot from just the different graphical fidelity of the remakes. Just kind of banking off how hot they can make her look. Old Ada, she half the time she's literally pixels and is kind of gimped by the hardware of her time. So, but I think she has the more immaculate spy energy. So I'm going to put her in 500,000 aura. I'm going to put modern Ada in 100,000 aura because I think she's carried a lot by the graphical fidelity of the remakes. So that might be controversial. I might be starting this off a little rough. But yeah. That's where I'm going to put these two. Next up, Agent from Resident Evil 6. Funny that we're doing him right after Ada. I'm going to put him in 100 R. I'm going to put him in 100. Because whenever I boot up the mercenary screen, I see him and I laugh. I don't not notice him. He sticks out. But he just laughs. I just laugh at the fact that he's there and his name is Agent. He doesn't even have a real name. So he goes in 100 R because I don't forget that he's there. But it's funny that he's there. But I never play as him. So he goes in 100 R. Next up are the Ashford twins. And I think Alfred gets bonus aura points for being a victim of Claire being homophobic. And I think I'll put Alexia right next to him. I'm going to put both of them in 10,000 aura because they're really memorable. And much like Ada up here, classic Ada, I think they are held back by the hardware of their time. I think in a Code Veronica remake, these two could really get a glow up. They could end up here. That's how good they are as villains. But as is, with the weird voice acting in Code Veronica, I think they go here. Next up, the Ashleys. Now these two have very different aura, I think at least. Both is very intense. But old Ashley is really funny, but also really annoying in some ways. But I'm in the camp that if you were annoyed by Ashley gameplay-wise in the original Resident Evil 4, you're just bad at it. I think gameplay-wise, modern Ashley is much more annoying. That's a hot take. I might make my own video about that because I have strong feelings about that. So I'm gonna put both of them. I'm gonna leave both of them. Hmm. I'm gonna put both of them right here. Originally, I planned to put original Ashley up, but I do think no, I'm gonna put original Ashley up here. I think she's cooler. I don't know if that's controversial or not, but new Ashley, she loses RL points for being annoying gameplay wise. Old Ashley is she's just silly, and she's voiced by Sandy Cheeks, so she gets bonus RA for that. Next up is Barry. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave him in 500,000 RA where I happen to set him because anytime you're playing as Jill in Resident Evil 1, you're like, "Where's Barry? Where's Barry? I wonder what Barry's doing right now." You're always thinking about Barry. It's always in the back of your mind. He's not even in the room and you're thinking about him. That's how much aura he has. So he goes to 500,000. Next up is Bella Dimitrescu. Oh, fuck. Let's just rank all of these at once. Where's Daniela? Wait, what the heck? Oh, I put it right here. I am going to put them all in 100 aura. Because their designs carry them. They have very little character aside from a couple of notes. And they all blend together. So I know they have their fans. And one of them, I don't even remember which, is voiced by Nicole Tompkins, which is voiced by Nicole Tompkins, which is cool. I just I don't I can't even tell them apart looking at them. I'm honestly I'm not 100% sure if I got their images right for these. um so yeah, they blend together. Their designs don't separate them enough. I know they're all supposed to be sisters and stuff, but they should have separated their designs a bit more, I think, to make it easier to tell them apart. And with the amount of blood on their face and some like stuff going on in the RE engine, they just all look so similar. So I'm gonna leave them all in 100 aura. I think this game really did them dirty. They could have had their own lords section, much like Moreau did, and they kind of do before Lady D, but they're basically just below Lady D as sub bosses, kind of like the propeller guys in Heisenberg's factory and the flying guys. So they go here. Beneviento. I'm gonna put Beneviento in 10,000 because no, yes, I am. I was gonna put her here, but then I remembered that I hate little dolls, and every time I am finishing up Castle Dimitrescu, I'm thinking about, oh crap, I have to go do Beneviento soon. And I don't want to do that. So I think that's 10,000 aura, mostly because she's actually scary. She's really creepy, and yeah. Billy goes in 100,000 aura. Billy Cohen is a great character stuffed in the worst Resident Evil game. I will die on that hill, and he's knocked this low because that game just sucks. Anytime I play Resident Evil 0, I like playing as Billy, but I don't like playing the game. And that knocks him down to here. If they make a Resident Evil 0 remake like is rumored, he could end up here. But I'm going to leave him here. Or if he comes back in another Resident Evil game, he can move up very easily because he's a great character. But he is served very poorly in Resident Evil 0, so he gets 100,000. Birkin, 0. Default Birkin has no aura whatsoever. Only when he mutates. Actually, I'll count mutated Birkin because otherwise this will be lame. That's pretty lame. Just slap him right there. He gets some swag when he mutates. I'm gonna put him in 10,000 aura next to Beneviento because in Resident Evil 2 remake, when he gets all the eyes on his chest in Birkin 5, he literally makes my skin feel weird. I think I brought this up in another video. So he gets 100,000. He's literally affecting me physically, and he's a video game character, so he goes up there. Okay, Brad, new Brad, 0. No, he gets negative aura. The reason he gets negative aura is because original Brad is so funny. He doesn't stay around long, but he's there and he's cool. And yeah, he saves Jill by the door. But this guy helps establish what a threat Nemesis is. And this specific screenshot of him is what I think of when I think of how terrifying Nemesis is in the original. So he goes in 100 aura because he has a part to play in one of the coolest scenes in the game. This Brad down here, he's just lame. He doesn't do anything. He has a neat, like, oh, I feel bad that I left you guys in the helicopter shtick, but that's all he's got. And then he just randomly dies to regular zombies. So much for being stars. There's a reason you fly the helicopter, Brad. K9. That's how I feel about K9. Carla. Okay. Now hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. The reason Carla is so high is because the first time I played Resident Evil 6, I didn't know the twist. Okay? If you play the campaigns in the opposite order they are on the main screen with Ada still last, the Carla twist lands so well. It lands incredibly well. And the whole time I was like, I cannot believe they went this direction with Ada's character. I can't believe she's evil. Something's off here. It's so good. It's and then just the amount of tragedy and her being like basically morphed into what Simmons wanted because he had a crush on Ada is just so sad. It's oh man. I just I think she's an underrated character. Immensely underrated. And she goes in 500,000 aura, right next to Barry, right next to Ada, funny enough. She's just cool. She's a great character. Classic Carlos has 0 aura. I was going to put him in 100 aura, then I remembered he gets slapped by Jill. 0 aura. None. New Carlos, I'm going to put him at 100,000. Not quite 500,000, because I think he isn't used enough in his game to warrant being any higher, much like Billy. But he's a good character. He's carried a lot by the voice performance and the design. I do think Billy is a better character. Same with Ashley and Birkin. But Carlos, he just oozes swag, but he doesn't ooze character development. So he goes a little lower. Oh god. Chris time. Classic Chris. He goes up here. I love Roger Craig Smith Chris. I'm a ride or die for Roger Craig Smith Chris. He goes here. This includes RE1 Chris. I think he's cool in RE1 as well. But Chris from 5 and 6, you can't beat him. He has just as much aura as Wesker. At least I think so. Resident Evil 8 Chris, he loses a little bit of aura because of the voice actor change. Roger Craig Smith carries that performance of Chris so hard. He's so good. They got the design down perfect. The guy who voices him, which is also the same guy that voices Carlos, he doesn't quite fit it perfectly. He gets close. He doesn't quite get there. He's much better for Carlos, I think, than he is for Chris. He's still good, and he looks absolutely fire in that jacket. Look at him. Sheesh. Sheesh, Chris. But yeah, I think this Chris moves down a spot because Roger Craig Smith is just so good. This is RE7 Chris. I don't think I have to explain that. Redfield. Classic Claire compared with remake Claire. Classic Claire gets, I want to say one of these. I'm not quite sure which, so I'm going to leave her here. This Claire gets 100,000. I know that for sure. She's not moving, but I think I prefer original Claire over remake Claire because of Code Veronica Revelations 2, how badass she is in those games. Yeah, I gotta do it. I can't not. She goes right next to her brother. She's really good in those games. Like, unrivaled, I guess, by these two. But also, these tiers aren't in order. I ain't doing all that. Deborah from Resident Evil 6. Uh, I'm giving her aura. I'm giving her 10,000. Do you know why? Because I was afraid for my parents to walk in the room during this boss fight. I was always thinking about it. I'm like, oh, I have that boss fight coming. I'm playing this boss fight. I can't be looking at her if my parents come in here. So she goes here. Duke. Duke gets 100,000. I don't quite think he deserves 500,000 because he, yeah, he does. He does. The Duke is fire. I can't put the Duke lower. Ethan, 100,000. Yes, I know he almost single-handedly saved his daughter and destroyed the mold. Almost single-handedly. He had help from Hound Wolf Squad. And he sacrificed himself to save everyone. But he's so dry in Resident Evil 7 that it counters that. So he goes in 100,000. Evelyn, 0. She's the least interesting part of Resident Evil 7. The twist in Resident Evil 8 is cool, but it's a very small part and doesn't affect very much. I don't think Evelyn's that interesting. She's not done very well, and her face capture in Resident Evil 7 has aged so poorly and it looks weird. So 0. She gets 0. Sella! Oh god. One of these two. Can't put her higher because she's barely a character. But Uba. That's all I'm going to say. Heisenberg. Right up there. Right up here. I love Heisenberg so much. Like, if I have to explain why Heisenberg is awesome to you, you don't get the Heisenberg sauce. He saves the factory section. He's the only reason the factory section is bearable. And his boss fight is insanely awesome. It's a pain, but it's insanely awesome. So it goes up here. Helena. I hate Helena so much. She's not, like, annoyingly horrible like these fellas down here. Yes, she is. What am I talking about? Yes, she is. She's so annoying. Oh my god. If you haven't played Resident Evil 6, you won't understand. And no amount of me explaining it will make you understand. So I'm going to do what Helena does, and I'm just going to drop a little hint about it, and then not explain it. But repeat that for literally an entire game. Hunk. I know there's a certain subsection of people that will put him up here, but I don't think he has the character chops to go up here. He doesn't have any development whatsoever. He just is. And yes, that is complete aura. But his aura never changes. So once you're tired of his aura, he's got nothing else. So he goes here. Honeygid! Oh my god. Why did I separate these? Oh, I know. It's because I was going to put Classic Hunnigan here and Remake Hunnigan here because she gets basically nothing to do in the game. And you barely see her except for that one cutscene where the screenshot is from and the end. Whereas original Hunnigan, you see her pretty much all the time. And you see her again in RE6 as a cameo, which is awesome. So she gets 10,000 and Remake gets 100. If Remake had more screen time, she would be right next to her. But oh well. Irving, I despise Irving. I despise Irving. He's not, like, as horrible as them, but no. Dear God, no. Jack? I'm gonna put Jack up here. I'm gonna put him right up here. I'm also gonna take this opportunity to move Ada up here because Ada is that she is that cool in the original games. Like, especially RE6, I think she's really awesome in RE4. But yeah, I'm moving Ada up here. But Jack is just he's just built different. He's the most terrifying thing about Resident Evil 7, and he is why that game is so scary, because of the amount he bullies you. So he definitely lands up here. He reinvented the stalker enemy archetype for modern audiences. Yes, I know most people would attribute that to Mr. X, but I think Jack is scarier than Mr. X, so I'm putting him up here. Jake, I'm going to put in 100,000. He is held back by the writing of the game. I think a better writing, he could have much better art. And his design is a little bland, so he goes here. But he does have good art. He is solid. Okay. Jill's. Classic Jill goes up here. Remake Jill. I don't think we've seen enough Remake Jill yet to put her on par with the original Jill, so she's going to go here. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I think if Resident Evil 3 Remake was longer, she could go here. But, yeah. I don't think it's fair to put them on the same level when original Jill's been around for so long. Especially original Jill in RE3 and RE5. Yes, please. But yeah, that's I can't put her quite up here because she's so different in every game that she has like different aura a little bit in every game. So I'm gonna put her here, and remake goes in 100,000. Joe Baker. He goes. Oh man, I don't know where to put. I don't know where to put Joe Baker. I think he's like Hunk. He has a very specific aura, but once you're tired of it, he doesn't have much else. He's like Chris, but without the character development. He's just cool, buff, punchy guy. So he goes in 500,000. No, 100,000 because he just has a DLC and very little development. So he goes here. Josh, though, I know he has less screen time than Joe, but I love Josh. I'm a Josh Ryder guy. Can't put him up here because he's not like a main character. He's not in any other Resident Evil games. And he doesn't have quite the screen presence that Jack does. So he goes in 500,000. Mostly for his mercenary stuff. Rouser, I think I have a hot take about this one. I don't like original Krauser. I think he's annoying. Remake Krauser, I love. He goes up here. Remake Krauser is terrifying. Original Krauser is silly. Also, new Krauser, he honestly is a really, really sad character. Original Krauser is too, but I don't think it's executed well in the game he's in. That's all carried by the Operation Javier, like CGI movie they did. So, just basing it off the games, right here. He's nothing in the original games unless you play the Separate Ways DLC, and even then he doesn't get that much. So he goes here. But original Krauser or remake Krauser, he's amazing. I love remake Krauser. Lady Dimitrescu. I can't not put her up here. I can't not. Like, I'm not gonna put her up here because I don't think she has enough screen time to warrant putting her up here. And what screen time she is, and her boss fight is kind of annoying. I don't like her boss fight. So she goes here. I think she's overrated. Most people, I think, would put her up here. I'm putting her right here. I know that's still really high, but I don't think she deserves a higher spot than that. No way. Leon. Original Leon, he's getting up there. Remake Leon, sorry, Remake Leon. You're awesome in RE4, but in RE2, you're so freaking silly that it knocks you down. And plus, you're like on par with. You're a little better than Claire, but you're not as good as original Claire, and you're not as good as the original. I'm sorry, you're not. The RE4 and RE6 Leon's aura is unmatched. You cannot match that. If I could, put him up here, but I'm not putting him. I'm not putting him in order. I don't feel like it. Next up, okay, we only have 2.5 rows left. Thank God. Another Houndwolf squad. You go here. Lucas. Let's just put all the Houndwolf squad people in right now. Where are they? Did I get all of them? Number Eyes. I thought there was one more. Night Owl. Is there any more? Okay. That seems like everyone. So yeah. All of Houndwolf squad goes at 0 because they're just lame. Lucas. I think he gets 100,000. Lucas is really cool. And yeah, he goes to 100,000. He goes in 10,000. He's got that Jigsaw Riz, but he doesn't quite have the screen time to knock him up higher. And most of his energy is pulled through the map and not directly from the character. You don't see him very much directly. So I feel bad putting him above. You feel his aura, places he's been, but not ever really from him. I hope that makes sense. Luis. Oh, this is rough. I think original Luis is a worse character by leaps and bounds than new Luis. New Luis is a better character, but this is about aura. And I'm going to leave new Luis right here. He doesn't have the amount of swag that the original Luis has. He's a better character, and I think he's cooler. But as far as aura, when you walk into a room, you notice this guy. If you don't notice this guy, he will notice you and talk about how big your boobs are. This guy, you'll see him. But especially since he's like a scientist guy, he's a freaking nerd. I'm just kidding. I don't think he's as I don't think he has as much Riz. That's literally it. No, I gotta put him at 100,000. He's not quite at the level of original Luis, but he has many other things to make up for it that aren't art. Marcus, I hate Marcus. He goes down there. Marguerite. See, Marguerite has aura, but it's not I love Marguerite. It's Marguerite grosses me out. So I'm gonna put her here. She's disgusting. And if there was like a negative aura side of this, like if it went down to here, she would probably go down there. But she's just gross, and I feel weird putting her up here where it's all the other cool characters. I put Deborah up here though, so and she kind of fills the same spot as Deborah, so I'll just put her where Deborah is. Mendez, both Mendez's, I think they don't have that much aura because of their very little screen time. That's it. If Mendez had more screen time, he'd be higher. I cannot put him higher. Original Merchant. I know what I said about screen time and going in S, but Original Merchant can't be beat. Remake Merchant comes close, but he's no Original Merchant. Mia, I don't like Mia, so Mia sucks. She's going here. Mike? Oh man, I gotta put Mike up here. No, I think Mike goes here. Mike goes in 100,000 aura because it's all in the helicopter. All right. If Mike didn't have his helicopter, I don't know if he would be as high. No, no, it's all in the voice. It's all in the voice that makes him epic. So I think he deserves the 100,000 spot. I think it's weird to put him higher since he's only in the game for like 10 minutes. So he goes here. Yeah, he definitely deserves to be a spot higher than Luis though, as far as aura. No, he doesn't. No, they're about on par with each other. Miranda, no aura whatsoever. Miranda has no aura. She's the least interesting part about her game. Sorry, Miranda. And Moreau, negative 1,000. He's not gross in the cool way that Marguerite is. He's just gross. So, sorry, Moreau. Original Mr. X also goes here. Remake Mr. X is a huge glow up. He's going up here. Right there. Yep. I know I know what I'm doing. This is probably gonna piss off some people. They're gonna be like, "You're such a nugent." But he's just the. I don't think he's aged very well. He's so easy to get past in the original, and his boss fight's not that hard in the original. Whereas in the remake, especially for new players, he's hard. He's still easy to get past once you're used to him, which is why I didn't put him in a million aura. But for new players, he is so scary. So I have to put him up here. Nemesis, the Nemesis battle. Though. Unpopular opinion. This guy goes in 100. He is no scarier than Mia. But this guy, right up there. Original Nemesis is so terrifying. I can't not put him up here. Even with how old the game is and some of the problems it has, just being an old game and being kind of short, he is not any of them. He is the best part of the game. He carries the game on his back, on his giant, muscular, fleshy, gross back. He's awesome in that game. Now, the Nikolais. I have mixed feelings about Nikolai in general. I'm going to put them both in 10,000. But this Nikolai, it's all in their performance. This Nikolai, it's all in the writing. That's why they're separate, because they have very different strengths. This guy is carried by his performance. This guy is carried by his writing. He's more interesting. This guy is just, he has more swag. Okay. I think I proved, I think original Nikolai's going down here. I think he's a better character, but he doesn't have as much aura as this version does. Piers. I like Piers as a character, but he does not have that much aura. So he goes on par with all these fellows right here. Rebecca. She's going 100,000. Yeah, she goes on par with Billy. Because she's always the best part of what she's in, but the stuff she's in is never really my favorite parts. Like, she's in Chris's side of RE1, which is my least favorite of the two main characters, but she's great in that. And she's in RE0, which I hate, but she's great in that. And she's in the CGI movies, which aren't great, but I like her in those. So I think she's held back by her source material, much like Billy is. Sadler, I'm going to say it. New Sadler, I don't like him. I don't think he's that interesting. He's not that cool. He's not that funny. Original Sadler at least has his weird tentacle dick, which puts him at 0 because it's funny. But otherwise, I don't think about him at all. I'll put him at 100. I'll be nice and I'll put him at 100. New Sadler, he just goes in 0. Salazar, original, he's going up here. He's going in 500,000. New Salazar, I don't like him. I don't like him at all. He is a pale comparison to the original. Worst part of the remake by far is what they did to Salazar. He sucks. He's not as good. And Sherry, specifically Resident Evil 6 Sherry. I felt weird ranking the aura of a child. So this is Resident Evil 6 Sherry. I think she's awesome. Sherry is so underrated in Resident Evil 6, much like Jake. I'm moving Jake up a spot. I'm moving Jake up a spot. They're going right next to each other. These two are awesome. They're great. Especially together, the amount of chemistry they have. They're just awesome. Yeah. They're great. And I think Sherry going on to fight bioweapons is a great way to continue her character without recharacterizing her, but also showing that she's still like the same person. So, and they're just the best parts of their campaign. So they go there. Sheva, I think she goes right up next to them. Next to these two chuckleheads. She's just as cool as Sherry and Jake. And just as cool as Mr. X, yeah. Yeah, I said it. But down here, Simmons. I don't give a fuck about Simmons. Sorry. I'll put him on 100, actually. Because he's creepy. He has Redditor energy. Simmons is the Redditor of the Resident Evil villains. Because of what he did to Carla. But Carla's a way better villain than Simmons is. She's much more going on. Simmons is very mustache twirly. And he's just not that cool. Ustanek. Okay. Unpopular opinion. Ustanek he's not as good as Nemesis, but he comes close. This guy's annoying. The whole time you're playing as Jake and Sherry, you're thinking about, when is this guy going to show up? And if he's not on screen, you're wondering when he will be. If that's not aura, I don't know what is. Ustanek is badass, and he's scary, and I like his design. I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion or not. I don't hear anybody talk about this guy, but I think he's awesome. And he was very well used in his campaign. Next up, Remake Wesker. I think what determines this guy's aura is going to be a Resident Evil 5 remake. I think Craig Burnett does a great job with the voice. And he's also a really swell guy. I would go follow him on Instagram. I don't know. I think the design has a Wesker disconnect for me. He feels like RE1 Wesker, but he doesn't have the look. I don't know how to describe it, but the vibe is off. I gotta put him in here. I gotta put him on par with Piers. No, I can't. Piers is cooler than this Wesker is. I'm sorry. I can't put him. I can't bring myself to put him here. He's just not as cool as any of these people. Yeah, he's on par with Agent. I know. Remake Wesker, I don't have any really strong feelings about him. He's just Wesker, but more bland. Sorry, he's carried by the voice performance. I don't think his design is that good. And yeah, I don't know. He's not that interesting. So, but he's had very little screen time. So we'll see where he goes. I'm gonna leave him at 100 for now. But if RE5 remake comes out and it's great, he'll go up here. Zoe. Last but not least. Sorry, Zoe. Alphabetical order. Selection last for kickball sometimes. I think I'm gonna put Zoe. Zoe has to go on 100. I'm sorry. The only time she's interesting is over the phone calls. But like, once you actually meet her, she's still not that interesting. And in End of Zoe, she doesn't really do anything because she's a cocoon. So she goes in 100. I know ending this off with a whimper, putting something in 100. But yeah, that's gonna be the list. Let me see if I can zoom out to see the whole list. Here's the whole list. I can't zoom specifically in the middle of it for some reason. I'm just gonna save it. I'm gonna save the image, and I'm gonna put it on the screen right now. That's gonna be the list. Let's just take a glance at this guy really quick. Got Wesker, Ada, Chris, Jack, Leon, Merchant, and the Nemesis at the top here. I think that's a great selection of 1 million aura characters. They all are top tier. We got the 500,000 aura people, which are on anyone else's list. I could see them going up here, but on my list they go here. If you put them up here, I respect it. These ones, if you put them up here, I don't understand, but fine, I suppose if you really like them. These ones, no, they should not be up here, and I could see them being lower if you don't like them. These guys could float around any of this area, really. How did I move this? These guys, I forgot they existed. The ones I forgot to put on this list were these ones, original Carlos and Miranda. I forgot to put Mother Miranda on the list. She was the last one I did. And Helena I also forgot to put on the list as well, as also Marcus. And Irving. These guys are just lame. These ones actively pull away from the game that they're in, so they get negative aura points. And yeah, that's going to be the list. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, feel free to drop a like. If you disliked it, feel free to drop that dislike, but please let me know why you disliked it in the comments. I normally don't make tier list videos, but I thought this video would be kind of pointlessly long if I made a normal ranking video like I usually do. And this is just kind of a laid back in between video while I work on my Black Ops 1 Zombies Weapons Ranked video. I just wanted to put something out for you guys so you had some nice Resident Evil content to listen to or watch. If you watched it, that's awesome. But if you just listen to it too, I understand. I'd probably listen to a video like this. Feel free to subscribe if you want more Resident Evil content. If you like weapons ranked videos in general, I will be working on those. If you like my plot armor videos, check those out. If you ever wondered how much different characters' medical bills would be, it's a great series. Very fun, very silly. We do have channel memberships up on the channel. Do not feel pressured to join, but if you would like to join, I would greatly appreciate it. Obviously, I still appreciate you supporting the videos in any typical way you would on YouTube for free. It's all greatly appreciated, no matter how big, how small. We do have a Discord if you would like to chat, share memes, or LFG with other residents. I think there's 35 of us now, if I'm remembering right. But let's pump those numbers up to 50. Let's get 50 people in there. That's going to do it for this video, and yeah, stay evil, my residents.